Hello everyone, I'm Mithra. Alright, I'm editing videos, sitting here, getting done editing these all up from GenCon for you. And this is my interview with Poots. I didn't do a proper introduction for this because what happened was Poots asked to have questions ahead of time. And he said there would be an email. The email, things happen, GenCon, a lot of stuff, Gamble was just fulfillment. The email was never posted in the Kickstarter update, even though it said it would be. So what I did was printed them off for him, and I made all the questions available to him the day before I interviewed him so he could look at them. So that's what happened. And as I was setting up for the interview, doing First Hero and all that stuff, the day before I had also talked to Poots, about all these questions prior and everything. So as I was setting up the camera, setting up everything to get ready to the interview, I used wireless mics. So he has a wireless mic on, I had a wireless mic on. And as I'm focusing the camera, doing everything, we were just talking, doing everything, and then literally he just started. So we just started as we were talking, as I was still doing all those things. Didn't have a chance to do proper intro to say, here it is. So this is that intro. Now the other thing is that there was this question asked. And I know this video, everyone wants to hear from Poots. This video is probably going to reach a lot of the Kingdom Death community. So with this, there is a question asked about very old survivor sculpts and stuff. And it brings attention to Kickstarter 1 things. And if anybody out there is a patron of the arts, what that is a patron of the arts, is I think there was only 7 backers. Here's the thing right here. It's from Kickstarter 1. There was only 7 people who got these limited edition deluxe survivor death art prints. If anybody out there knows anyone with one of those 7 prints, there's a thing to people look for these things. So they can get, pictures of them so we can see them, so the community can finally see them. So if anybody knows what patron of the arts, anyway, you can leave a comment, tell me that you are, or you know who is, or message me on Discord or whatever. But anyway, here it is. My interview with Poots from Kingdom Death.
This was put together by you and the community?
Yes, me, mostly. You got some really dedicated lore heads. So,
yeah, apparently.
Me, there's like 3 others. And we talked all about it, and like you said, we can talk about it. You did build a game where it's hard to gather what's going on, and your best bet is to have the interpretive one. And so by that, I had to talk to 3 other people.
We're live now, so it's all going. But reading through these, I was filled with appreciation. Like to see that you and other people have noticed some of the things that we've agonizingly layered into the game and we're really careful about and went back and edited when we felt like we were saying too much is just so incredibly touching. And as I told you before, I would love to answer all of these, but there would be so many spoilers, and the intent was for something that Anna, a partner, says a lot is if it's a mystery to the writer, mm-hmm. It's not really a mystery to the reader. It ends up just kind of being nothing, you know? So it's we need to know what's going on so that when we're describing things and referencing stuff that's kind of maybe a little bit behind the curtains, we still know what's going on, but it's always from the survivor's perspective.
Yes.
Right? So.
Yeah, and the unreliable narrator. Yes, yeah. I love that perspective when they those hunt events where you meet saviors and stuff.
So, one of them that I can definitely answer, it says that the realm of the ethereal dreamer has been referred to as the dreaming, an ethereal strain fighting. Is that the official name for it? That's what we call it internally. Since we haven't explored that any further, especially from a survivor's point of view, mm-hmm. Will it end up being called that to the survivors? Maybe, probably, you know? That's just a simple name. That's an easy one. And then the rest of them, unfortunately, what's this one? The Gotham one. It's this is a question that
because we
you'll
run
get.
out of
You'll get. You'll get there.
Right.
You'll get there. But I don't want to say it. And then the Barbarian the scribe is cranking out copies to satisfy a customer Kingdom Death and seeing how they end up.
Yeah.
Again,
That's a good one.
Ones is a good.
See, now this is one part I would love to talk about game with stress, but I'm not going to because not a lot of people have it.
I mean, it's
Unless
just
you
like,
want to,
you know,
I'll add to that.
No.
Okay.
I don't. We worked so hard and we took so many risks sewing so little for so long. Like, it's fulfilling. It's out there. You're gonna play.
Yep.
You guys are gonna play, and you can start to form your own conclusions. And hopefully, we did a good job adding the next layer.
Yeah. Oh,
And anything we completely fucked up on, I'll be like,
No,
actually,
no.
no, we're wrong. Let me quickly correct
no,
that.
I think you got it. Like I said, I've seen some of the game with stress stuff.
I mean
and
specifically about the layers of lore.
Yeah, no, I meant the tone is still
Yeah.
hard to decipher, unreliable. You still nailed the same tone. I know there's a
The
bunch.
Aya question can be answered without any spoilers, and one of the questions you have.
Sure.
And the other
Yep.
thing.
Flip it over. It's double paged. The
The
back.
rust ocean crab.
Oh yeah.
All right,
The
so
magma lobster, right? Too is in there.
rust ocean is like, you know, an ocean of rust. So there's
Yes.
kind of like this layer on top of it, and the water is
Yeah.
underneath it.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
sounds horrible.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. And then there's like lightning storms and stuff from it.
Yeah.
And the crab lives underneath that. So when we were working on it, and again, this is all like, a lot of that stuff is notes and musings that I get really excited about, and then when an artist is sort of in between projects, I'll get to give it to them, and then, you know, it'll get made to a certain point, and I'll know that I can't return to it in earnest until we have so many other things finished. Like, I
Yeah.
can't really explore Rust Ocean probably until after Ringtail Fox stuff, and that's after
Sure.
Kickstarter.
Sure.
You know, so it's like, it's far out there.
Oh, yeah.
But we have thought about it a bunch. We had an absolute blast making the descriptions for the
shop,
two
yeah.
architects. So we're trying to imagine this crazy shit they're living in.
Yeah.
So the only additional thing I can tell you about the Rust Ocean crab was that I really wanted some sort of like digging mechanic so you can get to where they live, like through the rust surface on the top.
Yeah. All right.
Tastes bigger. The flesh gorge and rockworms.
Yeah.
So that stuff was all like the flesh gorge and rockworms.
Yes.
Those are done by an artist who is just doing some exploration work.
For smog singers, right?
I'm not sure how or if I'll reuse that. I'm very careful with the like smaller creatures in KDM because like part of the design process is to not really show the survivors above anything.
Yes.
And like people have asked me like, are we gonna have survivors mounted on anything? And I'm like, no, you don't get to domesticate these things.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So smaller things like that, if they resurface, would probably be in hunt events or in the form of vermin or something that you would get.
All right.
I don't have any specific plans for these yet, but they are awesome.
They are. They looked great.
Yeah.
They did. I know they, like I said, smog singers eventually, but
Okay. All right.
was there the other side? Or nothing else?
Oh, there's another side.
Yeah.
I do have a concept for a Centowolf.
Yeah.
I do have a concept.
That was in
for it.
was that Frozen Star Lucy? Was that shop war?
Was it when did the
Or was
Frozen
it
start?
Hellebore?
I don't know, but they're both kind
Yeah.
of like exploring ideas in that biome. Yeah, the moon stuff I can't quite talk about yet.
Yeah, I figured. Yep. I know we saw it in your December update when someone wished for
Yeah.
the. Yep.
Yep. The generic world, so we wanted to name the generic world Generica, but it already existed. So then we're like trying to think of like the most tongue-in-cheek, like satire names that we could. And mobile games have taken everything we could think of.
Yeah.
Legend of Legends a thing, Heroes of Legend a thing, Legend of Heroes. So
Yep.
right now it doesn't have an official name.
I still love the concept of the generic world.
Thomas was getting on my case about making more of the Astrology Nights like
Oh.
two days ago.
How many of them do exist besides Libra and Aries?
I have concepts for 4, but I'm unhappy with the other 2. So
You want to say do you want to say the other two that we haven't seen?
Taurus
Oh.
and Cancer.
Oh, I could see Cancer doing something.
So I'll tell you that the concept for Taurus was going to be like a conquering barbarian style knight who has like all of these crown trophies from all of these kings that it slayed, specifically slays kings.
Oh.
But when I was making the Astrology Nights, this was sort of like so early on. It doesn't necessarily mean king the monster. It meant like king of a culture. Because the Astrology Nights were kind of like, could be in the generic line, could be in the KD line. They were just for the sake of artwork.
Okay.
And our process, or my process usually is I will make something in its like most pure form, and then when we bring it to KDM, it goes through like just a whole like myriad of like rethinking and reorganizing before it finally gets presented as a final.
Yeah.
So typically I'll start concepts relatively simple so that there's not too many conflicting thoughts pulling it too many ways. And this was because back when the second Kickstarter ended, the amount of pressure that I felt as a designer in a small studio to just make like the best, craziest things ever, it got to be too like complicated and overlapping. And I had to kind of like go back to remembering what made the Kingdom Death stuff cool in the beginning, which is like complicated world with simple things to anchor you, right? So like the monsters are always named really easy stuff. Like the White Lion's called the White Lion instead of having like a fake-o Latin name. Flower Knight. It's like easy things for you to grasp because what's happening in the world is crazy.
Yeah. And the starting ones are good to relate to when you start playing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. A lot of different characters, different stories are being introduced, but in mind, these character stories have a set of chronology, the internal timeline, and events of Kingdom Death's history. No.
Oh.
No.
This one's. Oh. Oh, that's really interesting.
So here's something that is good for you to know going forward. One of the core rules that I gave myself when I started to make notes and build Kingdom Death in the first place was I wanted to make a fantasy world that had no history.
Yes.
Right? And so it's easy to say that. It's just like, don't write a history. But I had to come up with reasons why there's no history, because that's what people do.
Yes.
Right? So like, the Watcher was sort of the
Watchers,
first idea of that, a creature that ate knowledge.
Yeah, and maps and stuff.
So if there's not going to be sort of like a chronological history for most things, there should be a reason for that too.
Yes.
Right? And I haven't explored that in terms of like gameplay or expansions yet.
Okay.
But we purposefully do not have.
Purposefully. Okay. So then that makes sense, because I was going to ask about Percival and Doggo and the passage of time there, but that so
there definitely are like sort of like, I don't want to use the word vignettes because we use that in terms of like game things, but there are set pieces and little small like storytelling arcs that obviously happen in some sort of sequential order, but they're isolated and they're not connected to each other.
Yes, and you have a definitive start in, I know not end, but start point, like what you consider something?
The genesis of the world?
Yeah, like something like that. Okay.
So much fantasy, especially as Lord of the Rings, and everyone loves that. I love Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
And there's so many worlds that have so much careful world building, and they're all done in sort of the same way. I wanted to take the things that I liked the most from it and kind of like not allow us to use them, if that makes any sense.
Sure, yeah.
So that the tone from the very get-go would feel different and more akin to the feeling we were going with Kingdom Death.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Gotcha. Can I quickly, one follow-up then? If just like, do you consider it a world or like a plane of existence? Like, is it a sphere? Is it have some sort of properties that are constant?
When we get really internal on KDM, it has more rules that sort of are along the lines of a sci-fi universe as opposed to a strict fantasy universe.
Okay.
So there's always a biological reason for everything, right?
All right?
So in that sense, it would be more of a world, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it is a sphere hanging somewhere in space.
Correct. All right.
But it's not a fever dream.
No.
Not a fever dream. It's not.
Has someone asked you that before?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
The philosophies explore a lot of potential ideas on what the survivors think the world could be too.
Yes. That's very interesting.
Super fun.
All right.
Super fun to make. And some of those ideas actually come from some of the things people have asked me over the years.
Yes. I do want to get to that. Some more stuff that people want to ask you over the years. But
Yep.
finish that up, and we'll whatever ones you want to still talk about.
Again, like
I'm trying, guys.
my appreciation for these questions. This is the question about Percival's timeline and the Black Knight and the demise of the townspeople. Like, they're great questions.
I'm trying, guys.
Let's talk about Rust Ocean. The highlights. Yeah, the doll came from someone.
Really? Oh, that's interesting too.
I'll give you that one.
Okay.
For sure. That's a harder one to put together, but yeah.
All right. So we're going to switch here. So I gathered all these from all around.
Yes.
You've got huge amounts of very generous fans. I know you've got boxes of stuff from this GenCon delivered to you. And I just want to say, I think I mentioned this in passing, your board game has transcended its own media, for sure.
Thank you.
And I was telling you, I've seen your minis all over at Crystal Brush. Everyone, you've got yourself a very well-developed brand, more so than board game. I'm very glad for you for that.
You know, never expected or intended it, but I'm glad that everyone feels that way. You know.
Yes,
like,
everyone
I'm
does.
happy. We
So-
worked.
Yes, and I'm so glad that the Game of Chess was able to get out
Oh
and
my
everything.
God.
I'm so glad that's off your shoulders.
Felt like I've been walking a tightrope for the last 2 years, and as we approached GenCon, which we already booked and paid for,
yeah,
it felt like the tightrope was narrowing down to just like a thread. It's like the idea of being here with none of it fulfilled was absolutely horrifying.
yeah.
And of course, we would have loved it if it was the opposite and it was all completely fulfilled and we could like just sell it. But at the very least, just at least let some people have it.
Yeah.
At least let them know it's real.
No, and it
It's just
turned out.
not me with a sample.
Yeah, it turned out really
It's
good.
real, please.
No, it turned out great, and I'm glad. It looks like a fantastic building block, like a foundation for the rest of the way forward
I'm
and stuff.
so like excited to hear about people playing.
Yeah, I can't wait till I get a chance to. All right, so we've got a bunch of community questions. I'm going to toss them at you. So, which Lucy model is your favorite?
My favorite Lucy model sort of changes with the times. Right now, it's tied between the Sci-Fi Lucy and the Sci-Fi Lucy variant, which I have not released yet.
Yeah,
But it's on my desk,
we just
so
saw a
I
Sci-Fi
have it.
Lucy. She looks great.
Yeah.
So, really, that's your favorite one?
I mean, currently, yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of Lucy's coming
Right
out.
before that, it was Summer Lucy.
Right before.
Such a cool sculpt. My God, like we worked on that one for a while, and it had a lot of back and forths, and we were trying to determine like how much to push the anatomy for the pose. And like I think it was I don't remember exactly which sculptor it was on the team, but when they made the hair into these cool like bell curls,
Yeah.
it really just kind of like helped bring the rest of the character together for us. And like she always has that style hair.
Yeah. No, Lucy's a great model. When can we expect the Percival or Fade reprints? Again, these were before I got here.
Yeah, it was cool. We found someone in the storage here in Indy.
Yeah.
But we do plan on revisiting them more formally so that we can have something that sort of fits in. You know, I want to refresh Percival so it feels better with the Black Knight
With
stuff.
Black Knight.
And similarly, I want to refresh Fade so it feels better with the Red Witch
Red
stuff.
Witches, okay. I'm going to slide some lore in there quickly.
Yeah.
We know that Nico is a new Red Witch, and we know Fade is dead.
Yeah.
Was anything you can comment on with that?
You're going to have to examine the characters that are on the bottom of those model spaces.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's the other one? Will the Percival, Satan, and Gambler's Chest or Gambler T-shirts? I know. Again, before I got here.
Well, the Gambler T-shirt here is not the exclusive.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No, we're not going to sell the exclusive T-shirt.
That was what I was going to
fucked up.
ask.
No.
Okay, so they're not going. Okay.
We didn't want to make the crest exclusive because then it would be like only 200 people get it. You know what I mean? So we're going to design something new for it.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Yes, Shipping Chan. Does she have an internal name?
She does, and it's really stupid. And I'm not sure it's worth sharing.
It's totally worth sharing.
I don't think so.
I mean, you don't have to.
I
I'm
am
just
totally
saying.
throwing
The
Anna-
Sacks, you even mentioned it now.
I'm totally throwing Anna under the bus on this, and she does it because it really like tilts some of the other people in the office. But it's unofficial. It's not official name.
Okay.
But we wanted to keep. I was asking the office what should the names be. the first and last name just need to start with an S and a C. It's like the community calls our shipping chain. So, Shippy Container is the joke name
Okay.
that we use.
Sure.
It's not official. It won't be used. Don't worry. You asked. There you have it.
All right. Kingdom Death High. Any plans for that?
I would love to make a game there, but
A game for itself.
Yeah. Let's be honest. There's way too much.
Yeah.
To do.
Well, maybe, currently with the generic lines, they interact with echoes. Maybe something like that?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that's the appropriate way to do it.
No, that's fair.
And there's a specific reason for that if we ever get to explore a game with a generic line, which is always meant to be like a standalone, so it's sort of like a way to maybe introduce people to our system, but not necessarily the world. When/if we ever get to do anything with the Death High sort of universe, it would be another like an homage to itself, like a small standalone product.
Oh, all right.
I don't think I would like try to mingle it into Kingdom.
Okay. So you're saying Goth Amy's one-time thing?
Goth Amy's not from Death High. That's from
Yeah, no,
Gotham.
I'm just saying that's our only chance for Schoolgirl.
I don't own that. That's
Oh,
or not.
okay,
I
okay.
have to ask them to extend the license in some way.
All right. Let's see. Best girl between the starting two. Urza and Lucy is what this question's asking about.
Oh, I go back and forth on it all the time. It's hard.
You got to settle the score.
I feel like they reflect different aspects of the kind of like brand overall, and they have different kind of like approaches, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't think I could possibly pick between the two of them because the starting survivors as a whole are like one being. It's like one expression.
All right. How about this then? There was a community poll that was Lucy, Urza, Shipping Chan, and Allison.
Didn't Shipping Chan like win that by a million miles?
I'm just asking, would you have also voted for her? She did win that, but yes.
And that is the jurisdiction of you fans. You know?
It's fine. I voted for Urza, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you real quick lore about Urza? Mm-hmm. It's of my opinion. Does she start with vestophobia?
No. It was just an attempt to make it so the fabric that they start with, which is like very like referential throughout, historical, like was shown in different ways.
When I saw
the artist wanted to depict her as a tomboy.
So following up on the Urza thing, I know because originally I saw the Echo stuff. No, the 10th anniversary survivors, and I know Lucy's wearing the Disorder restrictor earring, and I was like, oh, Urza's probably wearing that because she's got vestophobia. Anyway, all right. We ever consider selling card packs of the old school white box stuff? Because I know 1.6 included before and after.
Before we found these, we were wondering if we should kind of make like a collection of all of them and kind of like refresh all of the rules a little bit, because now that we have the Gambler's Chest, like there's much more meaningful ways to make all of that content.
Yeah,
So that's been a thought, but it's like not on any of the four burners.
Yeah,
you know?
because some of that stuff's really fun.
It is. There's cool stuff in there.
Let's see. Oh, sorry.
And if we did that, we would sell a set with the models, and we'd also sell a set without the models, because a lot of people have the miniatures at this point.
Oh, that's nice. So just the gameplay stuff. That's cool. The King's Coin. I heard someone redeemed it for a pre-order of a Butcher bust.
They did.
So is there anything else you foresee in the future, or is GenCon the best place to come with your King's Coin?
I think we need to reevaluate the way we do King's Coins, because we still have like 200 to send out.
Okay.
But it's something that's still super exciting. So when we figure out a way that's more manageable for us, we run another contest. But yeah, I think GenCon feels like the appropriate way to do it. Like, which is sort of a bummer, because it means that people might have to organize other people to do it with. But it's a physical coin.
Yeah.
Like, this is a trade show.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You know?
I just really wanted to get that one asked, because I know people were like, should I bring my coin? So there you go, everyone. There you go. Best bet, if you're coming to GenCon ever, just bring it. Who cares? It's only that big.
Or if we end up setting up shop, somewhere else, who knows?
Yeah. Barbarian versions. I know we just talked about it a little bit, but all four have not been released.
That is an accident on my part. Sometimes I don't realize what we have and haven't released. I thought Barbarian Urza was released, but she's awesome. She's been on my desk for ages.
I bet she is.
It's one of the few models that I've actually almost finished painting.
Oh, all right.
So yeah, we'll release her, no problem.
Awesome. And then just follow up on that. You ever think we could see a collect of all 4 of them?
Maybe.
Okay. This is funny because this happened when we were waiting for First Hero. Any character designs done with the hope that someone will show up and cosplay them. That was amazing. If you want to share what happened.
Sniper was so cool.
Yeah, that was.
Because like I was pulling like some of our older resins out of the like sort of the case we have to bring to GenCon, and I pulled out a few investment snipers, and I remembered how much I loved the sculpt, and like sometimes certain sculpts will just look amazing in certain material. And her OG resin, which is done by the French master we used to work with, was just so crisp. I was like, I got to take one of these for myself. And I put it in my bag, and then someone showed up dressed up.
I know, that was cool.
Awesome.
Is there any one you would love to see? Because maybe, if you say...
we should do a cosplay contest.
There you go.
Get some King's coins, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you could, what one would you like to see? If there was one, like, what would be cool? I think Investor Sniper is cool. I think like a Sparrow Guard would be cool. That would be so cool.
It's hard to think off the top of my head, in all honesty. I think if we do a cosplay contest, maybe I'll take a few of the favorites or want to see from around the office, and that'll be like, a participation credit. Like show up and no contest. Just show up as this and win something. Yeah.
Awesome. What expansions will be mixed with Campaigns of Death? I know we've seen specifically, there was always ones highlighted, like the Lonely Tree and Slenderman, and then there was the Dragon King and Sunstalker.
They're all going to get reprinted in the book. And then there's going to be synergy cards between many of them.
Many of them? Do you know what's like, you think there's like, how am I going to say this? Like 4, or what do you think's the max of it? Like 2 to 3 to synergize, or would like a whole campaign synergize?
The synergy cards are more about when you have 2 or 3 specific campaigns together in a group. Like the Dark Flower armor is a synergy between Slender Man and Flower Knight.
Yes.
And the Sky King armor is a synergy between the Dragon King and the Sunstalker.
All right.
So yes, 2 to 3.
Yeah. So
You answered your own question.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering.
Yep.
Let's talk about Ragnarok Online.
I love Ragnarok Online.
That was the thing.
Did you play too?
I did not play, but I knew about it because everyone's sharing about it. I played Final Fantasy XI.
Yep, I played
which
that
I know.
too.
Yeah, I know we were talking about it. Did you play Mithra?
I did.
Yeah. All right.
Was it Mithra Thief? Rogue or Thief?
Will I ever be a wanderer?
That's a good question. Maybe.
I know because she's already got herself like a whole story.
Yeah.
She's going through with Death Inheritor, all that stuff. Here's one thing I can, because it wasn't here. I know it was teased that maybe you could pre-order Millennium Butcher. Is Aya still part of that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And because the other one is an archivist.
Yep.
And this hero, I think his name was Strong or
Brave.
Brave. That's it. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we didn't know the 4th yet. You want to? Can we have the? Is it a Twilight? Is it Allison?
Let's save it because we're
that's
this close to having it here.
That I do.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It was like GCE fulfillment or finish the vignette. I was like GCE fulfillment, obviously.
Yeah.
We'll get back to this.
Yeah. Do you know when it can expect pre-orders?
I'm hoping to have it either Black Friday or Christmas, but it kind of depends on printing and stuff.
Awesome.
I'm really looking forward to the vignette. Like not quite in my hands territory, which I hate, but it just happens.
That vignette, it's got to be something. I mean, as someone who really loves lore, the fact we get to see an Archivist, get a Twilight Knight, and Aya all playable is awesome. I know Aya can be playable because you can find her on that hunt, but
I'm happy with it, with how it turned out.
That's great.
I think you'll like it.
I definitely.
It's definitely more meaty than the White Lion one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That was pretty meaty. Okay. Which one is this? Oh, the 2D video game. Sorry, I was talking about the GIF and stuff.
So the 2D video game, we are just focusing on building art assets because the animations take so long.
Yeah.
And then, maybe a few years from now we'll have enough animated to actually rebuild the game again. But here is one of the most recent things.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, yes.
And only the first few frames are fully done, the rest are still being filled in.
Okay. Well, now I've seen it, so now everyone's going to ask about it. It's not my fault if people are asking in the Discord or something. It's the Butcher. Yeah, I don't know if it will do autofocus on a phone. It's amazing. Everyone hopefully will find its way to the Discord. That's really cool. Plan going forward with scout cards.
scalping?
Yeah, no, scout cards.
Oh, scout.
Specifically the the tablets they draw.
Tablets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are those not Kingdom Death, Campaigns of Death? Will they be in there for the existing ones, or is that like something not Campaigns of Death?
So, scout system, it's tough because now we're going to have like products that sort of have everything in it going forward, and then we'll have products that are sort of like a little bit like seeming like they don't have all the pieces. Scout stuff we're going to include in Campaigns of Death.
Awesome.
That's the right place for it. The philosophies though, like the People of the Stars and the People of the Sun need a philosophy each.
Yep.
And philosophies are heavy lifts, and I don't want to. It's like a two-part kind of challenge. I don't want to stall the Campaigns of Death at all. Like, we need to finish it and move on and get it out the door. And at the same time, I also don't want to put a product into a large mega product that people who have Gambler's Chest may want, but don't want the entire Campaigns of Death for.
Yes.
So I think those two philosophies will end up being separate.
Okay.
I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I know we saw parts of it in Gambler's Chest. But yeah.
So that I think that's the way we do it. But the scout stuff, I currently, and like, you know, I guess I'm put my foot in my mouth in case we, for whatever reason, renege on it. But currently the plan is to put that into COD.
Awesome.
So we're kind of like catch that up.
Yeah.
And then that stuff isn't going to be included in the expansions going forward.
Yes.
So the scout system will be complete with the monsters.
Yes.
That still allows us to expand the scout system in separate, smaller releases outside of that, but we wanted to bring it up to parity with the monsters going forward. Because it ends up being, you know, a tablet and then a discovery.
Yeah. And
it's not too heavy of a lift, and it will bring it to closure.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. Way back in the early days for Kingdom of Death, there were sculpts for various Holy Landers, including a blacksmith, a priest, a high priest, and also a White Knight captain. Those were included in the actual game, the Talking Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to think what, I was like, no, they're not. Can we expect to see these characters?
Labyrinth.
Yeah. Can we expect to see these characters again?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Holy Land something? Like, eventually?
I would love to do it eventually.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do any, aside from Manhunter, any of the monsters we currently know come from Holy Lands?
No.
Okay.
Wet Nurse, but I think that's known.
Yes, Wet Nurse is known. Yes, she doesn't have any gameplay.
Yeah.
And then this part 2 of it. Similarly, the beta sculpt for the male savior, which the artwork had shields around him and everything. That one.
Yeah.
That one was never, or was released, but also an accidental or intentional release matte art print is what seems to be the one I just talked about.
So
are those scrapped or?
I have 4 male saviors in resin done. They've been finished for aeons, and I wanted to do like some kind of special collection with them. And I think at this point, since the sculpts are, you know, sort of aged,
Yeah.
I think we should just release them, and then when we do the hard plastic version, you know, bring them up, and that's where we can explore more of like maybe game rules that might come with them. That would make more sense.
All right.
Because I've been sitting on them for so long, like, no, we can't release it. I want to do something special with it.
Yeah. Was there ever an intent to release like the multiple savers have all those actual life aspects in actual Kingdom Death? I know because they age rapidly from the hunt and everything,
Yeah.
but was it actually intended that you would switch out each one of the models as they aged?
If you're the type of gamer that wants to do that, hell yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Did the hand ever used to be a similar level with Survivors or with Nemesis? I can clarify. I'll clarify what this means. So the current theory. This last question is this way.
Sure.
The Nemesis.
Yeah.
They all seem to relate to a survivor. Like Kingsman was a survivor. Butcher was a Forsaker, which survivors may or may not be on the table to Forsaker. Slenderman we don't know, but Lonely Tree also was like a lady who left her settlement.
Right.
Then what's the Manhunter? He seems to be a Holy Lander, maybe a Holy Lander slave who was experimented on.
Yep.
Nemesis seemed to explore aspects of great loss or a painful story behind them that happened to an actual survivor themselves. And the odd one out would be the hand.
You know, you are correct on all this, and that must be subconscious design, because even the Nemesis monsters going forward and the stuff that I have design notes for, but not any actual
yes,
gameplay,
Atnus and
including
Dementia.
like the Cat Eater Knight, they all play with that theme.
They all do.
They seem so far to, yeah.
Oh wow! And that wasn't intentional?
Not Lotus. She does not play in that theme.
It's a great theme.
Lotus doesn't play in that theme. but a lot of them do.
And
it was not intentional.
Not intentional. So the hand isn't an outlier. It's just not an intentional.
Well, I'm not going to confirm or deny any suspicions about the hand,
Sure.
what he's up to, or where and what it came from. But a lot of the other ones do sort of seem to have the theme that you mentioned.
Yeah, of pain, loss, and relating to directly to his previous or current
But
survivor.
I think a lot of that is that the nemesis is, unlike the quarry monsters, which we get to have a lot of expression for over the course of like hunt events, story events, resources, and then sometimes settlement events. There's a lot more storytelling moments we have, where the nemesis are much more a visceral feeling that you experience and are sort of in a way subjected to. So to relate that back to the human aspect, they all seem to have a lot of notes that are things that we can relate to.
Yes.
You know, otherwise you just have like the cube of death that shows up and makes people vanish. And,
Yeah.
Well, that would be cool. It would be hard for that to like hit you in the feels.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
this. And I'm so sorry we're staying so late. But again, thank you. Again, your game is awesome. So many people enjoy it. I enjoyed it immensely. Thank you so much for taking the time.
What about your questions about the goblin?
Oh.